Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another episode of Incompetent Nerds. Tonight we have a great show. As you can see, I don't know none of my motherfucking lines.
You hesitated. I didn't know they were lines. I thought you just weren't going to do the intro.
Yeah, line. Intro? Okay, intro. Got you. Well, that lovely voice you hear in the background is none other than the Marc himself.
Good to be back.
Yep.
Not that I was going anywhere. But, yeah, guys, welcome back to a new show, new topic. As we talked about last month, this is comedy month for July. So, last week we touched on movies a little bit. This week's episode is all about stand-up comedy.
We also talked a little bit on stand-up comedy last week as well, but that was just a little bit.
That was a taste. This is the whole entree right here. This is the salad. This is the side dish. You got the side of fries. This is everything.
Yes, sir. Let's go ahead and get into this. So, let's get this going. Marc, your top. Let's make it easy. Top 3, 5 stand-up comics.
Top 3 to 5. Okay. So recently, a lot of people have been giving me this note, and so I've just been sort of trying to get into it, and I think I have gotten into it, but a lot of people say that the way I perform stand-up is a lot like John Mulaney. So he's been on SNL. He was a writer for a little bit, but he also has a few specials, and he's been touring. He's a white guy from Jewish or raised Jewish Catholic or in Chicago, and he sort of had a lot of it's observational humor, sort of like stuff that happens in everyday life. But I'm resonating a lot with right now because I think that he is just a guy I would want to sort of have a style similar to his. I don't like to say copy, but I like his style, and I like that style in myself a little bit. Yeah. So he's definitely my number one right now. Number 2. Right off the bat, because this guy is he's very hard to emulate in the sense that you can't take the crowd where the places this guy takes the crowd and bring him back at the same time. You probably know him, Dave Chappelle. He's been doing comedy for a long time, right? But the reason for him he's on my list is because he can be 100% honest with you. He can diss the audience. He can diss himself. And then bring it right back. Yeah. I mean, the way he writes his jokes, it's so, right on the edge of pissing people off and just staying there. And it's you can't copy it. You know what I mean? Anybody can copy Jerry Seinfeld. What's the deal with, right? And you can exaggerate a POV, but you can't really exaggerate his POV. Even you think of other African-American comics who are killing the game, or whoever your favorite is, they can't copy Dave Chappelle. They can't sort of even come close to sort of what his aesthetic is. So I just like that because it's unique. He's very
he is unique. Even a lot of comics, be it whatever ethnicity, always praise Chappelle as the greatest comic of our generation, or of our time, or the living the greatest living comic of our time.
Yeah, and multiple people have said that. I mean, Kevin Hart has said he's the greatest guy that's ever picked up a microphone. I may be paraphrasing, but he does emulate him a lot. And Chris Rock has has said similar things about him. And sort of the last one that he's on my list for a different reason, but Gabriel Iglesias, also known as Fluffy, just because he's so sweet, man. He's very real, and he can make fun of any race because he's down to earth about it, and he'll make fun of his race first. But more so how he just appreciates everybody. He appreciates all cultures. Nothing's off the table. But he also gives back. He gives all this stuff back to communities, and he's not afraid to shout out. I saw the Hawaiian special he did, and he just straight up shouted out a Hawaiian luau place because he's it's the legit best place to go to a luau. And I respect that, and I appreciate that. And comedy, it's hard, and it's grinding and grueling, and people pay tickets, and it's a business, but it should be fun, and you should be able to give back at some point. So I think he does a really good job of that, and he's makes. I think he's like the top. I mean, he's like number three on touring comedians who actually make an income
Yeah.
from comedy. So I mean, you gotta respect the guy for that. Always being on the road doing shows.
Didn't he end in fourth, like on Next Comic Standing, that one TV show?
Yeah, yeah, I believe so. I believe he was first season, right?
Yeah,
Like,
and he ended in fourth place, and he goes, not bad for a person who ended in fourth place.
I know, right? Looking it up right now. What about you? Right back at you.
Right back at me. All right, number one, I got to go with, and these are not in any particular order. Number one, I got to go with the Chicago native Bernie Mac.
Okay, love Bernie Mac.
One of my favorite comics growing up. Original Kings, his Def Comedy Jam, and all his other specials, movies, and other things. Like, I always loved Bernie. Always had that Southside Chicago swag with him.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say, yeah, he's originally from the Southside. Or am I mistaken thinking he's from Cabrini Greens? I might be mistaken.
Yeah.
Next is, of course, Dave Chappelle.
Mm-hmm.
That guy is like, you just nailed it. He's been unique. What you call it? Yep, he is a Southsider. I always thought he was Cabrini Greens. No, because Cabrini Greens is more up, slightly up north.
Right.
So Bernie Mac, Dave Chappelle, due to his uniqueness, and like you said, nobody can mimic him. And when people try to mimic him, it's like, don't do it, because
Right.
Chappelle never goes on stage with the same shit. He's always something different. Especially, I really love older Chappelle, like
Mm-hmm.
his past specials on Netflix,
Mm-hmm.
and I feel like because his older self, he has a much more presentable voice. Back when he was younger, his voice was more like a little squeaky, but now is like a little bit raspy. He smoked too many cigarettes and fucking joints, and he sounds more
People,
like this.
yeah, that he sound like his voice has changed, and some people miss the old voice. Some people like the new voice. Like I didn't know it was that important to people. I thought it was just, like people have a voice.
It's
That's
no matter.
it.
It's all about how is the word is being sent out, and depending on that voice is how presentable that is. So his voice now, the way he says his jokes, or even when he goes like high pitched sometimes currently, it's like
Mhm.
I don't know. It's just more to me personally. It's fucking hilarious. It
Mhm.
goes well, and also it shows his age and his age and his knowledge and wisdom, and especially when he talks about certain subjects.
Yeah.
And then hearing that voice is like, it kind of reminds you of that one person you grew up, like for example, a lot of folks look up to their grandparents, or a lot of folks look up to their grandfather,
Hmm.
and you don't remember your grandfather having a young youthful voice. You remember your grandfather having maybe someone raspy because he smoked so much cigars, cigarettes, whatever growing up,
Hmm.
and always had like some type of wisdom. And I don't know what it's me, not my grandfather, of course. He's loud as hell, but a lot of other older men that I know, they tend to talk more like low, and
Yeah.
that's especially when they spit out certain, like when they spit out knowledge, they're telling you like, yo, you gotta listen to this, and they just tell you everything. That's why I
Hmm.
see Chappelle as like, I'm like, this man, like he's a comedian number one, and he
Right.
is the number one. But when
Right.
he gets low and starts telling you about like giving you some story and tell you about some shit, I just love how he could tell you something that's so down to earth, so fucking like real, but in the middle of it, there's fucking jokes. Like
Yeah.
it's like the story in his last one where he was talking about this one pimp,
Hmm.
and how this one pimp saw that this girl had 500 fucks, and she was breaking, and she kept talking about like she's gonna join the circus, whatever, and you see the jokes in between,
Right.
but he's literally giving you a serious talk, but the jokes in between is what makes like the story sticks with you now, because you're like, shit, I remember when he said that that one prostitute was jumped on a unicycle and started riding off to the motel room. Like, I'm over here dying. I'm like, damn. Like, he is a great
Yeah.
storyteller.
It's very like weaving. The jokes are definitely weaving into
His story.
like his story. Yeah, and it's done. And I guess the voice, changing the voice. I've never really noticed it actively, to be honest, but I guess what you're saying is like the voice is the punchline almost, or it sets you up for the punchline.
Yeah. And then last but not least, it's John Leguizamo. Like he kind of cut off with his stand up, but his last stand up was pretty decent to me.
Mm-hmm.
Basically teaching the world about the Native Americans or the Latin cultures.
Mm-hmm.
That was his last stand up, which was both funny and also educational as well. The way he had it, and it was hilarious. Seeing John, like his stand ups and even in his movies, I always, I love the guy.
Yeah.
So those are like my top 3 comics. Anytime I would see any of the, Bernie, may he rest in peace, but any of the other stand ups, like if I see like new stand ups from like John or Dave, damn well I'm jumping right into it.
Have you ever seen Bernie Mac live?
No, I wish.
Yeah. That would have been cool to see.
Yep. When he passed, I was how old was he when he passed? He passed in 2008. I was 14. No, I was 18.
Okay.
My bad.
Oh wow. Interesting.
Yep, I was 18 years old when he passed. Yep, at a young age of 50. It's
I
crazy
know.
because
Was it? I forgot what it was. Cancer, drugs?
no, I think it was hold on, let's see. It was a health sickness. If I say this, it's a disease, a inflammatory cells form of lumps. Uh, Basically, it's like a lung disease
Oh, okay.
he suffered from. Passed away at 50. And you know what's crazy?
Mm-hmm.
Um, After his passing, we found out that his father and his brother also passed around the same age as 50. That the men
Oh,
in his family don't go really past 50.
interesting.
Yep.
So I'm trying to find, I don't see, what's his name, but, Ralphie May was runner up for the first season of Last Comic Standing.
Ralphie motherfucking May. That guy.
I love that guy.
Oh, and he passed away too. Son of a bitch.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's like I used to love his stand up, especially how like he hated to be PC.
Yeah.
And he'll be like, man, why gotta be African American, Asian man, Latin man? Whatever happened to black folks? And it's funny because growing up, I never called anybody African American, Caucasian, whatever. It was
Yeah.
always black folks, white folks, Mexicans, and Puerto Rican. Like, I will always stick to that. But growing up, it was always black folks and white folks. I will always stick to that. And even to today, or when I talk about people in general, I'll just say folks.
Mm-hmm.
And it's hilarious because if I say that word in certain areas, I can't get my ass whooped or shot. So usually I watch my tongue when I'm in certain areas in the city.
Yeah.
But what you call it? When he was like what was another one? He he goes, I hate this whole PC, like old PC stuff. Like, whoever heard of a good chink joke? And everybody, you heard the crowd, I had like half the crowd was laughing, the other half were like, ooh. He goes, oh, you know what I mean? And but I'm the asshole, right? Because I said it. Oh man. My favorite part was like, you know I can make fun of and never would get mad? He goes, Mexican folks. You know why? He goes, I could say something that's true, and they were like, hey, that's fucked up. He goes, one of his was like, what's a perfect gift for a Mexican wedding? Shoes for a 2-year-old. And he looks over, I guess he saw a Mexican couple. He's like, see, he just did it. That's fucked up.
That's hilarious.
Oh man, one of my favorite segments from Ralphie May was when he first had Cuban coffee.
Yeah, you told me about that, and then I went to watch it. That was great.
Oh my god, that shit was hilarious. Ralphie
It
May.
took me about 30 minutes to brew 16 ounces of it.
I knew something was up. But 20 minutes to brew a 16 ounce of coffee. And I knew I fucked up when I poured some cream in it and it was still black. Like I took a zip and I was like, oh, I could see into the future. He called his boy over. He called his boy over. They gave him some coke, and then he evened it out. He said, I took a hit of cocaine, and I just evened it out. Went to sleep afterwards. That was great.
That's great. Jokes stand so much. They stand the test of time, you know.
That they do. Hell, mama jokes has been around, I think, for fucking centuries.
Mm-hmm.
Not like the your mama's so fat. Like basically, like people just talking shit about each other's mom. Literally, has been around for got to be thousands of years, and then it's still around. It literally like mom jokes, dad jokes, sister jokes, brother jokes, like whatever type of jokes, mainly dealing with family members. Literally, like you said, stand the test of time. It just keeps going on.
I found some tea with what I was looking for earlier. So Gabriel Iglesias was on the fourth season of Last Comic Standing, and he was one of the final 8 comics. But check this out. He was disqualified
because of his phone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I remember that.
Insane.
Yep, they caught his ass on using his BlackBerry.
That's hilarious.
Yep.
Like, this guy's a rule breaker, and then he goes on to become one of the craziest stand-ups across the country.
Because he never gave up.
Yeah, of course.
But then again, what other comics were on that show that you have heard of other than Gabriel?
Oh, a lot of people. Eliza Schlesinger won.
That season.
Alonzo Bowden. Yeah, she won that season. Alonzo Bowden, Amy Schumer.
Amy Schumer?
Yeah, she didn't make it. Like, probably, I think she was like top 5 of her season. Dat Phan, the Vietnamese guy. Have you ever? He's the guy who went up against Ralphie May. He won and Ralphie May lost.
Shit, I never heard of that fan, but I did hear Ralphie May.
There you go. Yeah, and then like they did like a what's it called, like a best of in season 3.
Yeah.
Like John Heffernan was there. Let's see, Ralphie May back. Dat Phan was back. Tammy Pescatelli was back. Yeah, just there's so. I mean, Josh Blue. I know his manager.
Yeah.
Because she owns the comedy club where I took classes.
Oh, okay.
But yeah. So Gabriel Iglesias was DQ'd. The only one DQ'd. LOL.
Well, he's gonna go down in history for that one.
Unbelievable. That's crazy. Let's see. Do you go see stand-up shows a lot? Have you ever?
No, and not even in the city. I've never gone to one. I was, when I went to DC on my business trip, there was a comedy club nearby the hotel that I was staying at, and a part of me was what's up?
The Improv.
Yeah, the Improv. Yeah, I sent you a photo, and a part of me wanted to go. I was gonna go, and then when I checked who was gonna be there and whatever, I was like, oh, graduates are gonna be here for the time I'm here. So I was like, I'm not gonna go. And I'm happy I didn't, because I did a lot more landmark, what you call it, checking out more landmarks throughout DC. So it gave me more time. Especially I was planning on going that afternoon too, but when I got back from my landmark sinking, I literally got back to my hotel early just to get ready, have dinner, and then shoot off to the lounge, the Improv. Mm-hmm. But by the time I got back to the hotel, showered up, I felt so sore that I was like, I'm just gonna give me a beer and a steak dinner and go the fuck to sleep. And sure enough, I did it, just that.
Okay. So what makes you like want to see a show, or what would motivate you to see a show?
Oh, just mainly going with the right crowd. I want to go by myself.
Yeah.
I want to be with the right crowd, but then again, I want to be with that one person in the crowd that's the asshole, and the whole table gets pointed out, especially when the comedian is good at comebacks. It's like, is he with you? Is he with the whole table? Got to be very embarrassing. Next thing you know, we're all getting pointed out. It's like, son of a bitch, shut up.
Yeah, I guess I've gotten used to going by myself, or like going to support one person. But yeah, I mean, I like obviously we're just a podcast, but I mean I always support live comedy just because
Yeah.
it's part of the art. It's one of the art forms, and there's so many things now that people don't want to go out. Like it's so easy for you to get anything to you that I think going to like a comic show, even if it's just people you've like never heard of and it's like their first 5 minutes or whatever. I mean, I love it because everybody's got to start somewhere.
Yeah, of course.
But I was gonna ask you, what was the last? Did hold? I'm getting ahead of myself. But what was the last special you watched,
Last special I watched.
or the last hour? I should say.
The last comedy special I watched was by Mike Epps on Netflix, and I didn't even make it halfway through.
Okay, that's. I'm so glad you answered this. Why?
Got boring. Like
Like you were bored, or his jokes were boring, or I mean, what? Anything specifically?
when it kicked off, his whole he, I felt like he took forever on his introduction. He was constantly thanking the people, complimenting the people that were there, and then using jokes. Uh, Talking about when he was at other places, some like so there's a bunch of fine women out in front row, and where in other cities he was like, I literally did not last watching that show. Watching that special, I got bored instantly, um, and I didn't even finish it all to give it like a good critique. But just like the first 10 minutes cut me off. I was just like, yeah, no. I literally just exit out and went and no bullshit. Exit out. Went to Dave Chappelle. I started rewatching one of his specials and was dying.
Mm-hmm.
Because that day I really wanted to watch something funny, and I was like, well, my girlfriend told me that Mike Epps he has a special and it's funny. I was like, okay, cool. I pulled it up. I'm like, this is not funny.
Was it on Netflix?
It was on Netflix. I only watched like a good 10 minutes of it, left, and then jumped on one of Dave Chappelle's Netflix special. I was like, okay, now this is a lot better.
Okay, so my question for you is, people now have been getting like short attention spans. So a lot of people have your reaction, and
Yeah.
not just Mike Epps, but for like a lot of people, where it's like you ask them, "Hey, what's the last special you watched?" and they say, "Oh, I watched this guy, but I didn't finish it."
Mm-hmm.
Like I get that, I totally get that. Like we don't, we have lower attention spans. I'm not saying that's like you, but that's sort of like the where our society is going because there's like so many now. People just get like bogged down with them. So I really was watching. There's actually a TED Talk by this guy called Andrew. His name is Andrew Schultz.
Yeah.
I don't know if you ever heard it. Maybe we've talked about it. Maybe we haven't. Uh, did we talk about it last week?
Andrew Schultz? I don't think so.
Okay, so he basically was saying like his TED Talk is about how this very concept, and he was getting frustrated with like breaking through and like having this moment. So what he did was he was like F it, I'm gonna just go, I'm gonna go do my sets, and I'm gonna travel or whatever, and I'm just gonna put up a 2-minute YouTube clip of one joke or one set like every week for a year. And so he did that for like 52 videos, 2 minutes each. And he didn't do anything with it. He just shared 2 minute, and that's like an hour and a half, right, of jokes
Yeah.
that were all new and they're all different. And he saw, like, as he started to build up followers and momentum and subscribers, he found that people were spending 2.5 hours watching like all the rest of his videos, like his sketches and his like early stuff and all of his beginning stuff. And then that's how he got like network deals and shows and like new management and stuff like that, because he was just he wanted to do something that was like different. But I think it's interesting that people will watch more when it's in like smaller chunks, like on YouTube, for example, because you can go from one person to the other to the other to the other.
Yeah, get something different. I,
Yeah, so I'm definitely a fan of like always doing your best work and just making it short, because I mean, people may be watching you for 5 minutes, but you can still make them laugh in that 5 minutes.
oh yeah. Um, One thing I've noticed was so funny story. I was drunk.
Hmm.
I was real drunk one time. It was me, my mother, my girlfriend. We're at the house. We're drinking, and I started laughing to myself. And I do that a lot. I'm pretty sure you caught me several times just laughing to my damn self. But I'm laughing to myself, and because I was thinking of these jokes in my head, and I told my girlfriend like, how I'm like, I think I should do stand up. She goes, okay, honey, that's the alcohol's talking. Calm down. I'm like, no, no. I'm like, no, hear me out. I'm like, hear me out. I think I should do stand ups. Like, how would you react if you were at a stand up club and this random person came on set, and in order to grab your attention, he just goes on and yell, doesn't even say, he just goes on and be like, hey everybody, just like, hey guys, welcome to the show. I'm a little nervous right now. My dick's kind of hard. So let's go ahead and get this through. Just you just shocked half the fucking crowd right there because you just threw in just a fucking shitty joke in between.
Sure.
So she started laughing, and I just started going. I don't remember half the jokes I was saying, but I just started going on a rambles and saying jokes after the jokes, and she is laughing her ass off.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, is that the secret? Do I need to get drunk before I get on stage? I'm like, that's it.
Sure a lot of stand-ups would say yes is the answer to that question.
Either drunk or high is one of the two.
I hear getting high is like really bad for some people, because it gives them low energy.
Yeah.
But
well, it depends on the type of high.
Right.
Yeah, because if your home in the backstage does all right, I'm ready to go. You know damn well he's gonna be up on that bitch energetic.
Yeah. Have you ever tried? Have you ever been to a mic?
No.
Should we talk a little bit about what that's like?
Well, should we lead into that? Oh shit.
Yeah, let's do it. Uh-oh, we got problems.
Excuse me as we take this momentary break. Okay, let's get back into it before we get copyrighted.
I don't think whatever you said is copyrighted by any sound studio ever.
No, the first thing that popped in my head was the Tetris theme song.
Yeah.
And I just did All right, let's get back into it. So, Marc.
Yes.
From one friend to another.
Yes.
Can you give me any pointers, tips on how can I get into first get into the comedy club, as in
Sure.
get on stage?
Sure. So I guess I'll just talk about my experience as a whole, and then sort of where it's led. I started taking classes, as you know, at a comedy club with my mom. And so basically through the classes, you get a set. You're working towards writing a 5-minute set of material for people you put on in a show. Like, it's live. It's very stressful for some people who, maybe aren't into, the stage thing, or they have stage fright or whatever. But it basically, like, through the classes, it basically gives you an into the show, because you're working with the bookers, and you're working with the teachers who work at that comedy club, so to speak. So that's sort of how I started. Obviously, everybody doesn't have access to pay for a class, or take a class at a club. Maybe clubs don't have classes, but that was how I did it. And then what I would say is, after that, it's basically there are these things called open mics, and through an open mic, they're either in really obscure places. Like, for example, there's one in Los Angeles in the back of a Food for Less's parking lot. It's literally just some dude's garage. He opens up at like 10 o'clock, and it's like, it's one of those side streets off of, a main parking lot of a Food for Less.
Yeah.
And people it's a mic, it's in the garage. People come, they do their time for, $5 gets you 5 minutes, whatever. And that's it. They leave, or they, you stick around. whatever. But comedy clubs also sometimes have open mics, and you never know who's gonna be there.
Yeah.
So I would always say like you should always do your best work, or even if you're trying out something or you're new, I would always say just be present and don't say like, oh fuck this, halfway through, or like don't get discouraged because you never know who's watching. But basically, you can get booked from shows by an open mic if the person is produced. You don't know who's in the audience. Other comics produce shows, other people produce shows. The owners of the club might be there, the bookers of the club might be there, and you never know what they're gonna like. You never know what they're gonna not like. So always, my suggestion is always just try to do your best work and always be present. Other comedy clubs have auditions. They just have straight up auditions. Come do your best stuff and see if they like you, they book you. Um, Another sort of tip to getting rebooked is, let's say you do the audition, let's say you do really well, let's say you get booked on a show.
Yeah.
They're not booking you because they think you're the next big thing. They're booking you because they want to see, it's sort of like a test. They want to see how well can this guy promote his shows. So you should always try to bring at least one person. I'm not saying you gotta invite all your friends and family every single time. I mean, even if you do, people will start to say like, yeah, we'll come see your show. Like that, they'll come to about three of them, and then they'll get over it because if you haven't written new material or they've already seen it, they may not always want to spend $20 going to a comedy club or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But always try to get somebody to your show, and then based on the number of people you get, that can get you rebooked at places, maybe even regardless of if you have a good or bad set.
All right.
Did I just blow your mind?
Yeah. I'm not that good marketing myself. Let's move forward
Yeah, I mean,
to.
if anybody out there is like, oh, I want to quit my day job and go do stand up comedy, I would say like it's definitely. I'm not gonna stop anybody from following their dreams or whatever, but you definitely should have a plan. Uh, go to open mics and see
Yeah.
what it's like. Open mics are really tough, because it's just comedians there. So some comedians, maybe they're stressed about doing their new joke. They're not gonna laugh at your stuff, even though you're the funniest guy on the planet, right?
Yeah.
So it's definitely a weird vibe. But like in a live show, you do have people who they aren't stand-up comedians naturally, so they are gonna laugh at more stuff than people would at an open mic. But they're definitely a place to start. You just have to find a good one. Obviously, LA is an artist town, so there's a bunch. But Chicago is like a really big comedy town too. But if you're in other places that aren't so hip on comedy, you may have to look a little harder, or maybe even start your own. That's what I know. Some people have done that as well.
Yeah. All right. Damn. I think you answered a lot of the
Yeah.
questions I had in that one.
Oh, did you? Yeah, you probably. It was like, damn it, Mark! Like, shut up! You're gonna answer. You're gonna ask all the questions.
Yeah.
Um.
What has that been? Well, this is another one. What's your overall experience with it? Just you personally, how do you feel? Doing the stand-up comedy.
Okay, so um, I'll give you. I can share. I mean, I'm doing it with my mom, so we've gotten close because of that. But so we're. I mean, I'm very critical of myself just because like I want to be the best
Yeah.
at anything I do. Just not from a like braggadocious standpoint. Just from a like, if you're gonna do something, like go all in kind of thing.
Yeah, just don't tell her the key. You know him. He'll just bring you down like he always did all of us. Oh, you think you're
Right.
better than me? Okay, cool. Watch this.
um. But yeah, I mean, I've had good and bad shows, like everybody. I've sort of found myself. It's really, it was hard for me to stay present when I was new. Now I'm getting a little better at it. I enjoy. I can go up there and have that confidence. But in terms of joke writing, sometimes it's hard for me to find like a clear POV.
Yeah.
And it's very, very difficult for me to do to do crowd work yet because things I think are funny, may not uh, not everybody may find funny.
Yeah.
So I'm still working through that, but it's a work in progress. But I always try to bring at least one person to the show, either my mom or my girlfriend, and I always stay till I watch all the comics, no matter what, whether I'm at an open mic or not, because if people respect my time, I should respect theirs.
Yeah.
So those are sort of just the little things I try to do to be present in terms of how to like improve the craft when you're not on stage.
Okay. Dealing with hecklers.
Do I want
No,
heckler or dealing with
no,
them?
dealing with hecklers. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've never experienced it because I mean, I'm in pretty newer shows, so people are pretty respectful of comedians. I have been in shows where other comedians were heckled, and they basically just shut them down with the greatest like comebacks. I mean, some people just, I mean, everybody responds to it differently, right? Like some people will just be like, "Hey guys, like, could you be quiet?" And other people, Jeff Garland, the guy from Curb Your Enthusiasm and like Daddy Daycare and stuff, but he's really funny at calling out hecklers. And this guy was on his phone one time at his show, and he immediately stopped like the whole joke process to talk to this guy and like call him out. But this guy had on a satchel, like a man purse, and like a Indiana Jones hat,
Yeah.
but like he looked very like upscale, like hipster kind of, and it was hilarious to just watch him pick him apart for being silly and disrespectful. And it's funny because the guy had no like he was not cognitive of like how rude he was being,
Yeah.
so that just made it even funnier. So yeah, you definitely have to call him out in your own personal style. I think I'm just I don't know, when I get to that point where I ever have to deal with one, I just want to be, you know like, what's the problem, man? Like you gotta address it because like it's rude not to address it, because then everybody's like thinking about it and then they can't laugh.
Yeah.
But you can't let somebody else take over the show for sure.
Yeah. No. Especially that's your time. That's your valuable time. You're
Yeah.
trying to show out.
Chris Reed just said like there was an old man on the show that I saw the other day, and he tried to talk to him because Chris Reed's black and this other old man was black. And he tried to talk to him, and he's like, "This is not your time, bro." And then somebody else said, "Well, let him finish." And he's like, "Let him finish? You know how hard I worked to get this time." Like I'm not gonna just listen to Grandpa tell a story about what happened 30 years ago. I got places to be.
Oh man. All right, I gotta follow. I got another one after that. It's a subject change, but we'll keep it going.
Okay.
Um, so oh man, I guess hecklers depend on what places you've been to. Because I want to say like, because I hear like New York is just super hardcore that they'll fucking eat you alive.
Yeah, I've never done comedy in New York. I would like to. I think the first time I go to New York, I want it to be for something paid or
Yeah,
like something artistic.
yeah, okay. Um,
But yeah, I mean doing your set to crickets is just as important as like killing it, because you learn like so much so quick, and you learn to basically that's when you learn how to stay present.
yeah,
Like when all your shit goes downhill, like that's how you learn like, okay, are you gonna like freak out, or are you gonna like stick to the material and like address it to you know people.
yeah. Oh man, let's see what else. There's after you said something about grandpa, it just kind of like threw me back of
Hmm.
Have you been noticing now all on social media, all the old folks looking pictures? Everybody taking a picture of how
Yeah,
they look old.
I can't stand trends. I hate trends so much.
Well, I got curious and I did it.
Of course you did.
And oh my lord.
Do you look like a grandpa, like a Cuban grandpa?
Not Cuban, homie, remember? No. What you call it? I look like
Yeah.
my grandmother. Like, it was funny because my grandmother's husband, he's a chubby dude.
Mm-hmm.
He has gray hairs. So when I saw myself, I'm like, holy shit, I look just like him, and he's not even blood related.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
Another one was I did another what's it called? Another one was me looking similar to my father as well.
Mm.
Oh, look at this shit. He just texted me like 12 minutes ago, telling me I
Right.
look like a Smurf, the old
Oh,
one, Papa Smurf.
love
This
it.
fucking asshole.
Hilarious. Did you just post it?
No, I didn't post it at all.
Oh, you just sent it to friends and family?
Yeah, just my siblings. We were dying laughing. But you know
Oh,
what? Uh, keep an eye out, cause check it out.
all right, I look forward to it. What
Just
would
check
you
your
ever
phone
go
in a few
up?
minutes.
Okay. Would you ever go up on stage?
I got stage fright, homie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I said, I think what I notice, of course, is when I take a couple zips of that courage juice, I should be fine.
Yeah, that's your key.
That's my key. Like, if we go out, okay, ladies and gentlemen, if I ever go back to LA and visit Mark here, and I do a pod, and I do not a podcast, and I do a show with them, just be warned, I will be drunk, and most likely Mark here will be getting me drunk, just so we could do our show together. Now introducing Incompetent Nerd. Hey everybody. Yo. He's a little too fucked up, don't you think, Mark? Like, yeah, he's good. This is how he does his skits all the time. He's fine.
Mm-hmm. How about this? I'm working. I'll work out a little bit with you. I'm working on something. I think it's a funny concept,
Yeah.
but people now like are all about Instagram, right? But do you ever notice who uh like 4 or 5 years ago it was all about Facebook?
Yep.
So like what I don't know. What do you I don't know. What's the next thing gonna be? Because now I feel like Facebook is strictly old people. Like all the ads I see are for like my 401k and like
Yeah.
our bank accounts, right?
True.
But it's like, oh, come to this new taco place. Like what?
Google is going at it again with the social media.
Yeah, giving them
So
a shot. It's funny how people just like come back and it's like they completely forgot about it, but we're gonna pretend nothing happened.
pretty much. Uh damn. It's kind of because I didn't expect Facebook to last this long. Like I did
Oh,
not.
really? You
Personally, I did
thought,
not. As of right now, it's gonna stay. They already have their fingers in other businesses, not just in social media.
mm-hmm.
Right now, you see them doing exclusive exclusive shows to Facebook. That Facebook video, how they've been trying to get this, just doing exclusive shows, showing them off there, doing also much, just doing other things. Like I see Facebook slowly. Facebook's gonna be the name for a shit ton of products.
Okay.
So of course, in order for Facebook to grab people, they're definitely gonna grab comics and have like some specials on there, like brought to you by Facebook Video. Welcome on stage, Mark Brewer. Blah blah blah. There you go.
Yeah, like I really I feel like I have a just through my life I haven't been an artist like all my life, so I have more or less normal friends if you want to call them that. So I'm definitely been thinking of like how do I put stuff that like everybody can watch and see that's on like Facebook and Instagram
Yeah.
because I feel like that would appeal to a lot of people.
One of the major social medias, of course, is Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, motherfucking what's
Do you
the
still have Snapchat on your phone?
yeah, I still have Snapchat. I think I
I
sent
delete.
you a couple things before.
Yeah, they definitely have not gotten open because I deleted the app.
Yeah.
'Cause I was like, not trying. It's too many, man. There's too many social media apps. How am I gonna spend 30 minutes a day checking all of
There's
them?
a bunch that are constantly coming in and out. But for me personally, Facebook isn't a stay for a long time, especially after they made their billions of dollars. They're gonna stay even longer and put their hands into other products. Um, but when it comes to like trying to market yourself, Facebook is still not a bad place to go. Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Snapchat. Just with those, it's like you just gotta market yourself. It's kind of difficult to market yourself on Snapchat unless you got people who push it out there, or using other social networks like Instagram and Facebook and Twitter and all these other places.
Mm-hmm.
Social medias are constantly going to be evolving. Google's coming out with theirs, which is like, I think one of the constants, I have to double check this, but I think one of the constants is you don't need to like add people to your friend groups. You are automatically added to like social groups, all based on your interests. So for
Okay.
example, you love acting, you love stand up, you love this and that, and because of those,
I just get put in those
you
groups.
get thrown into those groups, and you just get thrown into like forums and everything, to start chatting, and you become friends with other people.
Right.
So, but we'll see. Hell, Facebook, when they bought what's that VR, Oculus. There you go. When they bought
Mm.
Oculus, um, one of my things, one of my thoughts or theories was they wanted to bring the social networking to virtual reality. Well, they wanted to bring virtual reality to the social networking. They
Yeah,
wanted
that's
you
great.
to
Right?
be able to log into Facebook, get into like this room, whatever, and you're in this 3D space and just start socializing. I think there are games like that. Like I think it's like social VR or something shit like that, where
Mm-hmm.
you could create whatever type of avatar you want and get in there. Um, but I feel like that's what Facebook was trying to do, or that is Facebook is trying to do, like create this virtual world social gathering type area.
Mm-hmm.
Hell, instead of that 1.5 million people actually storming Area 51, they're just doing the virtual world in
Yeah,
the
no,
comfort of their own
that's
in the comfort of their own homes.
so silly. They can't stop us all.
Yeah, but with the guy rocking the 3,000 round minigun is laughing. 3,000 rounds per minute. That's all you're gonna hear.
Dude, the memes have been so fire.
Dude, my favorite one, my favorite one is me outside Area 51, and it's the elote man. You know damn well. Once I saw my friend sent me that one, I was like, we should go and not even storm. We just chill at the edge and just sell elotes all day. We'll make a fucking pretty penny. We'll come back motherfucking rich.
Have you been? I got man. We need to go to the corn man on in LA. He's like legendary in Eagle Rock.
I'm about to break your heart.
What?
I do not like elotes.
You don't like elote? What about esquites?
The fuck is that?
You don't know what esquites is? Esquites is the corn in the bowl, like a sweet corn.
Oh, nope.
What?
Nope.
No corn whatsoever? Why? You don't like that it comes out the same way?
The way it goes in, it comes out the same. No, I like corn. It's just I don't like the mayonnaise, butter, fucking the chile and the lime, all that. And the cheese. I do not like that taste. It's horrible. I had it once when I was younger. It was my mother's favorite spot. Had it once and never again. Never been a fan. The smell actually like brings back bad memories from when I tried it. So elotes are not the thing I try.
What?
Yep, do not
What
like them.
about what about 26th Street Tacos? We gotta go there too.
26th Street tacos.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
just literally this long stretch of a tents, right?
Yeah.
It's probably about 50 people making tacos, and everything's a dollar taco, Dollar Street tacos, and they just 24 hours a day, nonstop. Like there's always people cooking, there's always shit cooking, it's always fresh, and
So I'm guessing after one of your drunken nights, let's go to 26 and get some tacos.
Yeah, but it's like you have to know where you're going. It's like in a very specific spot.
Yeah.
So much so that like there's been imposters that like set up before the end of the block
Yeah.
because it's like behind. It's at the end of a block and then it's behind a building. So people like put street taco trucks like before it to like catch like white people who like don't know what they're doing and just like stop. It's like actually kind of hilarious.
Yeah, I hate
But
imposters. But
that's
yeah,
funny.
whenever I go back out there to LA, we go check out a couple more spots. It was funny because my mom's like, when I went out there for the first time, my mom tells me like, "You're gonna be in LA. That's all." She goes, "That's all Mexico, anyways." So she want to be getting the best tacos out there. I go out there. How were the tacos? It was all right. Really? I'm like, yeah. We only went to one taco joint.
I'm trying to. That's hilarious. What's our time at? Are we?
We're at 50 minutes. We
Ooh,
could do another 10 more and just call it a day.
okay. What do you think your comedy style would be like? Like, what do you find the most funny? What do you think your like POV is? I mean, on the spot, but you can take your time coming up with it.
Yeah.
I think you asked me last time, so I'm gonna ask you this time.
Mine's is dark humor. Uh,
Oh, that's right.
Dark humor, storytelling, and like real life.
Seem like a
Like
dark humor guy. You seem like a storyteller, and then at the end you'll just be like, yeah, and then we're all gonna die anyway, so it doesn't matter.
pretty much. Like that's
Like
pretty
just
much me.
them with that last one at the end.
That's the way I end all my jokes. But we're just gonna die in the end anyway, so who gives a fuck? Let's move on to the next one. But yeah, for me it's mainly dark humor, storytelling, especially like for example, bring back Dave Chappelle, not just him but other comedians that they give you a story, but in between the story there's jokes, and some sense they're dark or they're light. I really like that. That I really like that storytelling because it keeps you up, makes you laugh, keeps you gets your attention because now he's telling you something real serious and you're like, oh my god, this is true, like this is serious, this is a serious subject, and he
Hmm.
threw in a dick joke in there. Okay, cool, that's pretty funny, and it goes back into it. It's just like it just gets your attention, and I love that.
Yeah, yeah. You have to constantly be updating people in this day and age. I feel like with the short attention span and whatnot.
Also, non-PC. I
Non-PC.
love
Yeah.
non-PC jokes, and I feel like there's a lot more people out there that enjoy themselves a non-PC joke than PC jokes.
Well, it's funny because like I think it's like it lends itself to be this whole another topic that like it was never a topic before.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you can't say black people. Like, what? Like, when was that a thing?
Since the PC culture came in.
At least for me.
Yeah.
This white guy he was saying like, uh, he was doing this college show and he was really worried. His agent told him like, you gotta be worried about, you gotta say the right pronoun. This people care about their pronouns here. Like if you say guys, like you're gonna upset people in the audience and they might walk out. Like the last person said guys, comedian, and got booed off stage.
Oh
And
my god. You know what? I'm gonna do
and
a stand up and I swear to God I'm gonna open it. What's up, guys?
Dave Chappelle said he's like, they can boo me, but I'm still collecting the check. Like I ain't gonna leave.
Oh my no.
Like
When he
you
was
pay
in
for my
Detroit.
time, like you're gonna get my time.
No, what was it when he was in Detroit and they're like, boo, I want my money back. He ran back on stage. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. You never gonna get your motherfucking money back, and walks off stage.
That is hilarious. Um, yeah, I mean it's like its whole thing now. I mean I feel like if you're going to a comedy show, you have to
Yeah.
be willing to step outside of that. But if you're not, I don't know if I've perfected this yet. If I've perfected this yet, but you've got to call those people out.
Yeah.
Like you're going to a comedy show and you're gonna get offended by the word guys. Like, relax.
Yeah, relax. It's a comedy show. They're
I'm a
jokes.
white guy. I can't make fun of any other race. Like I have to say guys. That's the only pronoun I can use.
The only race you can make fun of is only white race.
Yeah, and that's not a race because we already won.
I like the joke. Better watch it before Brie Larson just comes on your ass and starts fucking nailing you in the head. But wait, I always loved you. I always looked at you. You're just awesome. Nope. Nope.
People say things about Brie Larson. Some say she's really nice. Some say she's not.
Guess it depends.
Yeah.
The reason why I just
So
brought
right,
her out was because you looked up to her, and I just like, what's a good person that could just crush his dreams? Brie.
right.
Brie could definitely crush his dreams.
Why don't you write a set?
Write a set.
Yeah.
Oh Lord. All right. I'll see what I can do. That's gonna be my dare for the week.
No. Next week, we're gonna go through the joke process, and then we can workshop some stuff.
All right, cool. I'll write a set, and then you tell me if I did it right. As we talk about how to write a joke, and I look at my paper like, well, I done fucked all this up.
I think you did more right. I think you have more in you than you think. That's for sure.
That's what she said. But okay.
And on that note, I think that was a great stopping point, and it's a great preview for next week.
Yeah. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to another episode of Incompetent Nerds. As always, have a lovely day.
Thank you for listening, guys. Appreciate it. And reach us at incompetentnerds@gmail.com. See you next week.
Yeah, so you said, guys. Peace.